Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Israel says no hostage release before Friday, despite the two sides agreeing at a truce. Finland to close all but northernmost border crossing with Russia following a surge in migrants. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosts virtual G20 Leaders Summit, says concerns of the Global South will have to be given top priority in the 21st century. India and Australia set for a 5-match T20 international series from Thursday. Surya Kumar Yadav to lead Team India. As Israel-Hamas conflict rages on, Israeli officials said that there would be no release of hostages held by Hamas before Friday, despite the two sides agreeing at a truce. The agreement was approved by the Israeli government early on Wednesday and had been widely expected to take effect on Thursday. While Israel's chief military spokesperson said on Wednesday that the war in Gaza would continue until the ceasefire.
We had a discourse with Israel Chief of General Staff and all the brigade commanders. We don't know when a ceasefire will start. We will be prepared to do everything that's required. At the moment, we are focusing on the war. What we did today is to expose Hamas tunnels and destroy them.
Whereas after Israel and Hamas agreed on for a ceasefire, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the Red Cross would be allowed to visit the remaining hostages in Gaza.
The outline that was agreed upon will not include releasing murders. It does not include the representatives from the Red Cross, visit from the Red Cross to the hostages and giving them medication. Here is the exact segment of the agreement. The Red Cross will be allowed to visit the remainder of the hostages and to give them required medications. And I expect the Red Cross to do its work.
Israel and Hamas reach a deal to release 50 women and children kidnapped and held in Gaza with a 4-day ceasefire. DD India correspondent Sarah Coates reports from Tel Aviv on this.
Well, it's certainly been a very difficult night for a number of families here in Israel who have learned that the names of their loved ones are not on this first list of hostages that are set to be released any time soon from the Gaza Strip, released over to Israeli authorities and brought back into Israel. But what is even harder is potentially the fact that a number of other families know their loved ones' names will not be on this list because they are not women and children. And look, they are pushing the government to do more, to do everything it can to release these 240 hostages that do remain inside the Gaza Strip, not just 50 hostages, but 240. Now, there continue to be protests right around the country calling for the government to do more, calling for the government to put this issue ahead of its military campaign in the Gaza Strip, saying that the lives of their loved ones are worth more than anything. Now, we are expected over the next few days to see this list appearing every single night with around 12 to 13 names on it. These people will then be released from the Gaza Strip. And it is anticipated that this deal could be extended. This ceasefire deal could go on for at least 10 days if more people are found inside the Gaza Strip, as it's known that some of them just don't know where they are. If they are found, they may also be brought out and the ceasefire extended. In Tel Aviv, Sarah Coates reporting for DD India.
UN officials briefed the UN Security Council on the humanitarian crisis faced by women and children in Gaza on Wednesday, while calling for a ceasefire to be extended beyond the original 4 days. UN representative to UAE said that the truce will provide life-saving humanitarian relief from the ongoing conflict.
We hope that the 4-day truce announced can be extended to allow in the life-saving humanitarian relief for the Palestinians in Gaza and the safe return of the remaining hostages there.
The World Health Organization said that the population of Gaza is deprived of access to nourishment, clean water and medical care on Wednesday. The regional director of the World Health Organization's regional office for the Eastern Mediterranean, Ahmed Al-Mandhari, said that WHO has documented 178 attacks targeting medical facilities, and 27 out of 36 hospitals have been forced to close due to the destruction of basic infrastructure.
In Gaza today, people are deprived of access to nourishment, clean water and medical care, shelter and protection. As estimated, 3/4 of residents have been internally displaced after repeated attempts to flee from violence. Even hospitals that are supposed to be safe were not spared from these atrocities. The organization has documented 178 attacks targeting medical facilities in Gaza.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, during a G20 video call, welcomed the agreement for some of the hostages held in Gaza to be released.
As you know, today the Russian president, for the first time since the start of the war of aggression against Ukraine, participated in a video call of the G20 heads of the state and government. I call on President Putin to end his attack on Ukraine and to withdraw troops from Ukraine's territory so that this war finally ends.
Israeli forces said that they have taken the headquarters of a Hamas brigade in northern Gaza. The army released a video on Wednesday showing weapons caches, a workshop, a 7-meter wide tunnel and shafts in the ground that they had discovered from the raid. As per Israeli sources, the weapons found were apparently used by Hamas in the October 7th attack on Israel. Finland's Prime Minister Petteri Orpo announced that Finland will close all but one of its border crossings with Russia. The closure will take effect at midnight on Friday. The remaining crossings will be the northernmost one. The closure is an attempt to stop the flow of asylum seekers to Finland. The government claims that Moscow is intentionally pushing refugees and migrants to Finland's borders. A Finnish minister said that there are signs that Russian border officials and other agencies are involved. He called the ongoing migration pressure on Europe's eastern border a hybrid attack operation. The international border between Finland and Russia is 830 miles long. It is also an external border of the European Union and NATO. The Ukrainian Army's Strategic Communications Directorate released footage on Wednesday showing the aftermath of a strike on a Russian Special Forces base. The Directorate says that a Russian Special Forces commando point in Kherson region was the target. Some pro-Russian bloggers said that Russian forces had been harrying Ukrainian forces near the village of Krynki, near marshes on the eastern bank, upriver from the city of Kherson. Ukrainian military analyst Pavlo Norozhny told NV Radio that Kyiv's forces had established a breachhead at Krynki and were advancing on the larger town of Oleshki to the south. President Volodymyr Zelensky and his defense minister welcomed the formation by Ukraine's Western allies of a 20-nation coalition to boost air defense on Thursday. Zelensky said the group, one of the several devoted to specific areas of Ukraine's defense, was formed at a virtual meeting of the Ramstein Group examining Ukraine's military needs. The decision is seen as a key element in the country's campaign against Russian forces. Germany's defense ministry had earlier announced the formation of the group, with Germany and France taking on leading roles. Commander of Houthi Navy toured the commercial cargo ship Galaxy Leader seized by the group in Red Sea on Wednesday. Brigadier General Mohammed Abdul Nabi said that his forces would stand ready to attack any Israeli ship crossing the Bab al-Mandab Strait in the south of the Red Sea. The Iran-backed Houthis, who have been sending drones and long-range missiles at Israel, the Galaxy Leader ship was seized on Thursday. During a G20 video call on Wednesday, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz called on Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the invasion of Ukraine. Scholz said he asked Putin to withdraw his troops from Ukraine's territory so that this war finally ends.
As you know, today the Russian president, for the first time since the start of the war of aggression against Ukraine, participated in a video call of the G20 heads of the state and government. I call on President Putin to end his attack on Ukraine and to withdraw troops from Ukraine's territory so that this war finally ends.
CSTO members comprising of Armenia, Kazakhstan, Russia, Belarus, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan gather in Belarus, but Armenia skips the summit, impacting Moscow and the CSTO. DD India's correspondent Dasha Charnishova reports from Moscow on the significance of the meeting.
The capital of Belarus, Minsk, is hosting a summit of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, also known as CSTO. Several leaders of post-Soviet countries are expected to join the summit in person, including Russian President Vladimir Putin, President of Kazakhstan Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, the President of Tajikistan Emomali Rahmon. The president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, who is hosting the summit, said he expected the gathering to help galvanize collective efforts to beef up defense and security. In his words, the post-Soviet space was going through a difficult phase. First of all, due to the conflict situations, including in the CSTO area of responsibility. Most recently, Lukashenko welcomed the resolution of the conflict between Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan in the south of Central Asia, and said it was necessary to think about future after the confrontation between Armenia and Azerbaijan has ended. But Armenian officials have declined to attend the summit in person. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said earlier that Azerbaijan's actions and inaction of the CSTO forced Yerevan to seek to diversify its relations in the security area. Moscow regrets the Armenian approach. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova said the decision to skip the CSTO summit did not meet the long-term interests of the Armenian people and would not contribute to the strengthening of the security and stability of Armenia. Dasha Charnishova reporting in Moscow for DD India.
North Korea says it has put its first spy satellite into orbit in defiance of United Nations resolutions, and it says it plans further launches. The White House has condemned North Korea's actions, saying they could destabilize East Asia. Andy Wood gets us more from Hong Kong.
The advantage for North Korea is that with a satellite in orbit, no matter how crude it is compared to, say, anything produced by Russia or America or China, is that it gets some idea of what's going on in its backyard, in the territory of its rivals, its enemies, namely South Korea and Japan, and for that matter, probably China as well. Now, the United Nations Security Council and the United Nations General Assembly have a long list of sanctions and resolutions that in theory forbid North Korea from launching missiles, launching rockets. Remember, rockets and missiles are remarkably similar. They can be used to carry spy satellites, or they could be used to carry warheads. North Korea, though, is probably going to continue to ignore them. It seems it says it has a sovereign right to launch missiles and rockets, to have its own space program. Nevertheless, Japan and South Korea are not too happy with what's going on. America has shown solidarity with a show of force by, for example, sending nuclear submarines and an aircraft carrier to South Korea to show that it's prepared to defend, or certainly to stand by its allies, South Korea and Japan. And also don't forget that South Korea, Japan and America are, in theory, in a couple of weeks' time, starting to share real-time data about what's going on with North Korea's missile launches as well. North Korea seems, by its actions, a bit, in a way, like what China seems to be doing with Taiwan. It seems the more bellicosely it acts, the more it actually seems to bring its allies together. In Hong Kong, I'm Andrew Wood, reporting for DD India.
We're heading for a short break, but on the other side of the break, Mission Zindagi rescue operation continues as connection re-established with the workers trapped in the Selkiara tunnel. To bolster bilateral ties, Seychelles Minister of Foreign Affairs arrives in India. Stay with us to know the latest on the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra as it reaches the Indian state of Odisha, marking its 8th day.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution. This series is going to tell stories of such change makers. Watch Change Makers on DD India.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you more updates. A big sigh of relief for India's connection with the workers trapped in the collapsed Silkyara tunnel in India's Uttarkashi district has been re-established this morning. The rescue work is underway. The auger machine is being taken inside the tunnel again so that horizontal drilling can start. 2 6-meter pipes are being drilled and inserted inside the tunnel so that the workers can be taken out safely. And Mission Zindagi rescue operation, which it was named as, will be completed. Meanwhile, also 41-bed hospital has been made ready at Chenyali Sort Community Health Center in Uttarkashi to take care of the workers once they are out. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Tourism of Seychelles is in New Delhi on a 3-day visit to India. The visiting minister will meet External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Thursday to discuss further strengthening the partnership between the two countries. Global Fisheries Conference concluded in Ahmedabad on Wednesday. The 2-day event was organized to celebrate the contribution and achievements of fishers and fish farmers and also other stakeholders and reinforce commitment towards sustainable and equitable development of the sector. Our next report brings you more on this.
India's position in the global fisheries sector is gaining ground. Focused on innovations in coastal aquaculture and mariculture, India hosted the first ever Global Fisheries Conference India 2023. Over the last 9 years, the fisheries sector has achieved significant growth. India is the 3rd largest fish producer in the world, contributing 8% to the global fish production. It's also the 2nd largest aquaculture producer.
कॉन्फ्रेंस में विदेश के प्रतिनिधियों ने, एक्सपर्ट्स ने, इंडस्ट्रियलिस्टों ने, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स ने, प्रोसेसर्स वालों ने, स्टूडेंट्स ने, एकेडमिशियंस ने और फिशरमैनों ने बढ़ चढ़कर हिस्सा लिया और मेरा सौभाग्य है कि भारतवर्ष में इस प्रकार की इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस पहली बार आयोजित करने का काम हमारे फिशरीज विभाग को ये अवसर मिला.
The 2-day conference had opened on November 21 on the occasion of World Fisheries Day. The conference brought together varied stakeholders at one place. The participants engaged in thought-provoking decisions and deliberations.
We look at how we can cooperate in the aquaculture sector, and there we're looking at the whole value chain, basically from eggs to fish farming, including cage culture, fish feed, to processing, to logistics and exports, and also the branding of seafood, because we are one of the strongest seafood exporters in the world, and seafood exports are one of our most important export commodities.
The conference provided a platform for industry experts, policymakers and stakeholders to share knowledge, exchange best practices and explore innovative solutions for sustainable development of the fisheries sector. Jessica Taneja reports for DD India.
Use of millets is getting popular across the globe. DD India's Nikhil Singh spoke to an exhibitor of millets at ASEAN India Millet Festival, which is underway in Jakarta, Indonesia. Let's listen in.
Right now we are in Jakarta, where there is an ASEAN-India Millet Festival going on, and there is an exhibitor from Indonesia. Can you tell what are your exhibits? What are these products?
Yes. My product is some bread. We make from Hanjeli. Is this millet from local Indonesia? And we make some cinnamon roll, bread roll, and bluder, local bread from Indonesia.
So how people are familiarized with the millets in Indonesia?
There's so many people in Indonesia use millet for their casual daily food, yes.
Okay. We can see that the millets is just not limited to India, but it is spreading worldwide. With cameraman Saurabh Shukla, this is Nikhil Singh reporting for DD India from Jakarta.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a virtual summit of G20 leaders on Wednesday to discuss the implementation of the Delhi Declaration adopted in September and several new challenges that have emerged since then. Amit Mukherjee gets us more in this report.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi asserted on Wednesday that the spirit of one family has the strength to keep the world unified in the fight against terror and violence and help the global community to ensure peace and well-being of humanity. Addressing the virtual summit of G20 leaders, PM Modi reiterated India's commitment to work for the welfare of all.
आज संकटों के जो बादल हम देख रहे हैं, वन फैमिली में वह ताकत है कि हम शांति के लिए काम कर सकते हैं। मानवीय कल्याण के दृष्टिकोण से हम आतंक और हिंसा के विरुद्ध और मानवता के प्रति अपनी आवाज बुलंद कर सकते हैं। आज विश्व की मानवता की इस अपेक्षा की पूर्ति के लिए भारत कदम से कदम मिलाकर चलने के लिए तत्पर है।
On the release of hostages held in Gaza, Prime Minister Modi during the G20 virtual summit welcomed the news of hostage release and hoped that all the hostages will be freed soon.
आतंकवाद हम सभी को अस्वीकार्य है। सिविलियंस की मौत कहीं भी हो निंदनीय है। आज हुए हॉस्टेजेस के रिलीज के समाचार का हम स्वागत करते हैं। उम्मीद करते हैं कि सभी हॉस्टेजेस जल्दी रिहा हो जाएंगे। मानवीय सहायता का समय से और निरंतर पहुंचना आवश्यक है।
Expressing concern over the Israel-Hamas conflict, the Prime Minister said that the Middle East unrest should not become a regional crisis. He said that India, along with the world community, is concerned and is hoping for an early resolution of the issue.
यह सुनिश्चित करना भी जरूरी है कि इजरायल और हमास की लड़ाई किसी तरह का क्षेत्रीय रूप धारण न कर लें।
Prime Minister Modi also touched upon the use of artificial intelligence and said that global cooperation was necessary for its regulation. He expressed concern over its misuse, especially the deepfake issue, and stressed on the need to use the technology in a responsible manner.
आज आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के युग में टेक्नोलॉजी को रिस्पॉन्सिबल तरीके से उपयोग में लाने की जरूरत है। पूरी दुनिया में एआई के नेगेटिव यूज को लेकर चिंता बढ़ रही है। भारत की स्पष्ट सोच है कि एआई के वैश्विक रेगुलेशन को लेकर हमें मिलकर काम करना चाहिए। डीप फेक समाज के लिए, व्यक्ति के लिए कितना खतरनाक है, इसकी गंभीरता को समझते हुए हमें आगे बढ़ना होगा। हम चाहते हैं कि एआई should reach the people and it must be safe for the society.
The Prime Minister also highlighted that the concerns of the global South countries need to be prioritized.
21वीं सदी के विश्व को आगे बढ़ते हुए ग्लोबल साउथ की चिंताओं को सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता देनी होगी। ग्लोबल साउथ के देश ऐसी अनेक कठिनाइयों से गुजर रहे हैं जिनके लिए बेजिम्मेदार नहीं है। इस संदर्भ में समय की मांग है कि हम डेवलपमेंट एजेंडा को अपना पूर्ण समर्थन दें।
During his address, Prime Minister Modi said it was a proud moment for India to get on board the African nations during India's G20 presidency. He said the step was a significant move to show inclusivity during the New Delhi G20 Summit. Amit Mukherjee for DD India.
After the conclusion of India's G20 presidency, the country's External Affairs Ministry held a press briefing to highlight some key agenda discussed during the virtual G20 summit. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that there had been an understanding for the formulation of a roadmap for handling of crypto assets.
The next agenda on which there was a lot of a sense of working together, and I was very glad to hear the FSP speaking about the crypto asset framework on which they wanted the roadmap is ready, they wanted countries to take it up, and it is only through that we are going to have the risks which have to be managed by particularly the emerging market countries, which can be handled, because the roadmap actually has looked into some specific areas.
The minister also said that G20 member states reiterated their steadfast commitment for action against climate change. She also mentioned the significance of the upcoming COP28 summit in the UAE.
Timely and adequate mobilization of climate finance has also remained high on our agenda during our presidency. Today we heard a lot of members talking about this and how important this will be. Climate finance has been emphasized in terms of new collective quantified goals that we have to arrive by 2024. There was frequent reference by all the members talking about next we meet at COP28. So this marked the major last summit under virtual, however, under the Indian presidency, and effectively ends the Indian presidency. But there was a lingering memory of this presidency moving over to COP28, which was referred to by most members, saying we are going to carry forward our agenda on climate finance to the next.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that the leaders condemned terrorism, civilian deaths and discussed humanitarian assistance. The minister said that G20 member states appreciated the truce between Israel and Hamas.
What we heard really were condemnation of terrorism, expression of deep concern over the loss of civilian lives, calls for extending timely and adequate humanitarian assistance, not allowing the conflict to spread, and to find a long-term solution for the Palestine issue. G20 members on the whole welcomed the understanding which has been reached on the release of hostages, on the flow of relief material to Gaza, and some pause in the fighting.
While recounting some of India's key achievements during its G20 presidency, Dr. S. Jaishankar said that India's G20 presidency was global South-centric.
There was one point, I think, which all of us would have noted today, a very clear recognition that India's G20 presidency was global South-centric, and it had brought development back fair, square and center of the G20. I think this was a very widely voiced thought, not just among the G20 members, but also, I would say, among the international organizations.
And up next, we take a look at other stories that are making it to the headlines from across India. Election campaigning reaches its peak as campaign for assembly elections in Indian state of Rajasthan ends this evening. The top-level leaders and candidates of all political parties are trying hard to win confidence of the public in their favour. Senior BJP leader and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and various opposition leaders addressed public meetings in Rajasthan in the past few days. Indian Prime Minister's initiative of Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra has reached the 8th day in Indian state of Odisha. The initiative, designed for comprehensive development, underscores the government's dedication to reaching every citizen and ensuring that the benefits of government schemes reach one and all. Indian Prime Minister's nationwide initiative of Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra was organized in Chikmagaluru in the Indian state of Karnataka. The initiative underscores the government's dedication to reaching every citizen and ensuring that the benefits of government schemes reach one and all. In the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir, 4 army personnel, including 2 captains, were martyred. Another 2 were injured during the fierce gunfight between security forces and terrorists in Rajouri district. The gunfight was going on in the area with induction of more troops to neutralize 2 terrorists trapped at spot following a cordon search operation. A quick break ahead, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Amid growing aggressive Chinese activity in the area, the militaries of Philippines and United States launched joint patrols in South China Sea.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action. Stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution.
This series is going to tell stories of such change makers.
Watch Change Makers on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour and I'm Preeti. A quick recap of the top stories once again. Israel says no hostage release before Friday, despite the 2 sides agreeing at a truce. Finland to close all but northernmost border crossing with Russia following a surge in migrants. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosts virtual G20 Leaders Summit, says concerns of the Global South will have to be given top priority in the 21st century. India and Australia set for a 5-match T20 international series from Thursday. Surya Kumar Yadav to lead Team India. Let's get to more international updates. At least 2 people died when a car exploded near a border checkpoint at a bridge connecting the US and Canada. Officials say there is no evidence to suggest terrorism, but an investigation is underway. This incident has caused major disruptions at a time when millions of Americans are traveling for the Thanksgiving holiday. William Denslow gets us more from New York.
In her press conference, New York's Governor Kathy Hochul said that this investigation will go on for a number of days, but she added that it's important for people to turn down the temperature, trying to reassure people, saying that all is well. She said that at this time there is no indication of a terrorist attack. However, she did also say that it would be premature to say that this was an accident. She said that we don't know if it was intentional at this moment in time. Some footage has emerged purportedly showing this incident on the Rainbow Bridge, this incredibly busy border crossing between the US and Canada. It shows a vehicle travelling at high speed, seemingly losing control before going up in flames. That corroborates some eyewitness testimony we've been hearing throughout Wednesday as well. We have heard significantly from law enforcement. According to their preliminary investigations, no explosives found in the vehicle. This has caused major travel disruptions on the border between the US and Canada. We saw that at the time of the incident, 4 border crossings around the Niagara area in upstate New York were closed. New York's governor says that all of those bridges were reopening as soon as possible, with the exception of the Rainbow Bridge. She says that that bridge, the one in question involved in this incident, will remain closed until it is deemed structurally safe to reopen.
Right now, the Rainbow Bridge will remain closed while law enforcement continues investigation. Again, this is a large, widely scattered scene, and we're trying to identify all the elements to make sure that there is no unforeseen situations that we need to address before we can open again to the public.
The White House was informed and kept abreast of developments after this incident occurred on Wednesday, and it really comes at a time of heightened security concerns in the United States, not least because this occurs as so many people are traveling in the US for the Thanksgiving holidays. Around 55 million Americans are expected to take to the roads, take to the skies over the next few days. This incident is not only causing delays in certain parts of the US, but really is increasing jitters for law enforcement and the public as well, at a time where so many people in the US are traveling for the holidays. William Denslow in New York, reporting for DD India.
And as we told you, the US is celebrating the annual Thanksgiving holiday with millions of people traveling to visit family and friends. But with record numbers traveling and extreme storms predicted in parts of the country, it could be a stressful time ahead for many. US correspondent Nick Harper gets us details.
The annual US holiday is a time to give thanks, to tot up all the things you're grateful for. But for many Americans, it's also a time of intense frustration as they sit in their cars or airport lounges waiting to get where they're hoping to go. A record number of people are travelling this Thanksgiving. No pandemic travel restrictions and cheaper gas prices are motivating many to get on the roads and into the air. Up to 5 million people are flying, almost 50 million driving. Even last year's problems of snowstorms and flight cancellations hasn't deterred people from travelling. But storms with rain, snow and strong winds are bringing travel chaos to millions. Thousands of flights have been delayed, dozens have been cancelled. And for those who make it around the Thanksgiving table, many are reportedly concerned about what they're going to talk about with their friends and family. A survey shows 60% of people plan to avoid politics as a topic of conversation in the hope of avoiding arguments. Shopping is another big activity over Thanksgiving, both online and in person. More than 180 million Americans, that's more than half of the population, are planning purchases during Thanksgiving, Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales events. That'll be a record-breaking number and an increase on last year, as inflationary pressures and prices have dropped slightly during the last 12 months. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
The militaries of the Philippines and the United States launched joint patrols in the waters near Taiwan. The Philippines is set to conduct naval drills and maritime exercises off Millets Island, the northernmost point of Taiwan. On this, our correspondent Andrew Wood gets us more from Hong Kong.
China, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that they wanted America and the Philippines to make sure that they respected China's territorial integrity. Don't forget, China claims pretty much all of the South China Sea. The Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia and other countries, though, claim large chunks of it as their own territorial water, and they seem to have international legal backing for that. But I think although China is warned not to inflame tensions and to respect integrity, this is, an opportunity for America to stand by the Philippines, its ally. There's been quite a change over the past few years since President Marcos was elected president, a big change from his predecessor. America has rebuilt relations with the Philippines, and it's already got 5 military bases there, and it's said to be opening another 4. The area that the Philippines is most worried about is what the Philippines calls the West Philippine Sea, which is part of the South China Sea. And there are atolls and reefs and so on in that area. In particular, there's one which the Philippines beached wrecked a ship there to use as a military outpost. And the Chinese Coast Guard has been preventing or trying to stop Philippines resupplying this military base. At the moment, it's difficult to see how relations could improve without China backing down or the Philippines backing down. China claims, as I say, most of the South China Sea. The Philippines says that it's infringing in seas that it claims. And I really don't see this improving. If anything, I think probably things will get worse because the Philippines will strengthen its relationship with the Americans. And don't forget, in the past couple of months, even Japan has signed agreements with the Philippines to increase training and joint operations and so on as well with the Japanese self-defense force. So these countries, Korea, Japan, South Korea and Japan, Taiwan is an ally of the Americans, the Philippines too, they're all getting together or working more closely together to try against what they see as an increasing threat of China.
According to exit poll results on Wednesday, Dutch anti-European Union far-right populist Geert Wilders was set for a major victory in the parliamentary elections. The election poll put his Freedom Party at 35 out of 150 seats, 10 seats ahead of the closest rival, former European Union Commissioner Frans Timmermans' Labour-Green Left combination. At a cafe in The Hague, Wilders' fans erupted in cheers, hugged and threw their arms in the air. In a victory speech, he vowed to halt all immigration to the Netherlands. New Zealand's National Party has reached an agreement with ACT New Zealand and New Zealand First to form a government. The final sign-off is expected to be done later on Thursday. The Conservative National Party had won the largest share of votes in New Zealand's October 14 general election. The statement did not include details of any ministerial appointments or the incoming government's policy priorities. Currently, the former Labour government is working in the caretaker mode until the new government formation takes place. The UAE has inaugurated the world's largest single-site solar power plant ahead of the upcoming United Nations COP28 conference. The 2-gigawatt power project is located 35 kilometers from Abu Dhabi and will generate enough electricity to power almost 200,000 homes. The plant is expected to displace 2.4 million tons of carbon emissions annually. COP28 President-designate Dr. Sultan Al Jaber emphasized on the significance of the power plant as a symbol of progress in solar power efficiency and cost competitiveness. The UN Refugee Agency expressed serious concern over plans in Pakistan to round up and expel undocumented foreigners on Wednesday, including many from Afghanistan. The UNHCR regional spokesman, Babar Baloch, said that UNHCR urges Pakistan to halt deportations of thousands of Afghan refugees due to cold winter weather, worsening an already severe humanitarian situation. Islamabad last month announced it would expel over 1 million undocumented refugees.
The UN Refugee Agency is raising serious concerns over Pakistan's announcement for all undocumented foreigners to leave, because this order has adversely affected Afghan citizens who are in Pakistan, and including those who are registered refugees and all others who have valid documents. UNHCR is calling upon the government of Pakistan to halt these mass number of returns during this harsh season of winter, because the cold in Afghanistan is really deadly and it can take lives.
Catalan authorities have initiated a pre-emergency phase due to the worst drought in the last 100 years, with some reservoirs at 18% of their capacity. The Bales Reservoir, with 24% capacity, has cracked ground and vegetation covering the dam floor. The daily consumption per inhabitant will be limited to 210 litres, and water use for irrigation will be prohibited except for federated sports. Bolivian police and a new squad of Venezuelan firefighters arrived in the Andean country to help extinguish fires across various regions. The fires have consumed nearly 3 million hectares and disrupted daily life, with cancelled flights and closed schools due to poor air quality. The new squad of 40 firefighters arrived after Luis Arce's government called for international aid. Active fires decreased due to rain in the affected zones. In the wee hours of Thursday, Nepal faced another earthquake as it got hit by one of the 4.5 magnitude earthquakes at 1:20 a.m. IST. No casualties have been reported. The epicenter of the earthquake is at Chitlang of Makwanpur district in the southwest of Kathmandu Valley, according to the Nepal Seismological Center. This year's Tong Tha Balloon Festival is being held from November 21st to 27th on the 9th day of the new moon in southern Shan state in Thailand. The opening ceremony of the Awaya Balloon Festival ground was sight to behold. All the ethnic groups living in the state came together. Music and dance filled the atmosphere when the bands performed at the air balloon field, while different balloon competitions were also held. The sky dazzled as fireworks were set off. Also, local singers from a modern music band performed as guests. And we now take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world. Panda CB Wenling discovered its bamboo basket's dual function as a food container and a swing. Born in 2009 in Sichuan province, China, he now lives at Chengdu Research Base of Giant Panda Breeding, a renowned institution for endangered species conservation and educational outreach. Mexico City mariachi musicians celebrated Saint Cecilia's patronage with traditional attire and wide sombreros. They attended a mass at Garibaldi Square and carried a statue of the patron. Originating in the 19th century, mariachis now perform at festivals and weddings and are considered, in fact, they are celebrated at any occasion. Double Z top funding member Dusty Hill's rock artifacts are set to be auctioned off in Dallas, Texas on 9th, in fact from 7th to 9th December. The items include a fur-lined Dean guitar, stage-worn jackets, boots and awards are expected to generate between $1.2 to $2 million, with part of the proceeds going to music cares. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, we tell you that there is good news for US stocks as they ended higher yesterday, being optimistic. Experts predict Altman's return to accelerate OpenAI's drive to more powerful AI. Stay with us as we get you a roundup of day 3 at IFFI.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution.
This series is going to tell stories of such change makers.
Watch Changemakers on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour, and time now to get you updates from the world of business. US stocks ended higher on Wednesday on optimism that the Federal Reserve may be done raising interest rates and that the economy is still resilient. According to preliminary data, the S&P 500 gained 18.41 points to end at 4,556.42 points, while the Nasdaq Composite gained 65.88 points to 14,265.86. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 182 points to 35,270.56. And as we told you earlier in the bulletin, after a tumultuous internal power struggle, OpenAI brought back Sam Alman as the CEO just days after his ouster, and installing a revamped board moves that, coupled with strong support from investors, may give Altman more leeway to commercialize the technology. Cornell professor and Tech Policy Institute Director Sarah Krebs says the new board appears to be more aligned with Altman's vision of accelerating the development of AI while also ensuring safeguards are in place. The board fired Altman last week with little explanation and attempted to move on by naming an interim CEO twice. But pressure from Microsoft, a major investor, and the 38-year-old's strong loyalty among the 700-plus OpenAI employees led to Altman's restatement as on Wednesday. Up next, sports. Talking of cricket first, just days after playing the ODI World Cup final, India and Australia are set for a 5-match T20 international series starting from Thursday. The last game will be played on December 3rd. The Indian cricket team will take the field with a full-strength squad after a majority of its senior players who featured in the month-long 50-over World Cup were rested for the upcoming India versus Australia T20 bilateral series. India's Suryakumar Yadav will captain India in the absence of full-time skipper Rohit Sharma. Suryakumar Yadav is the only Indian player in the squad that played the World Cup final on November 19th, where India went down to Australia by 6 wickets. Greece's Olympic rowing champion Stefanos Tsitsipas will be the first torchbearer of the Paris 2024 Olympics relay after next year's lighting ceremony in ancient Olympia, Greece's Olympic Committee said on Wednesday. The Olympic flame will be lit in Olympia on April 16th in a traditional ceremony with an actress playing a high priestess igniting the torch using a parabolic mirror and the sun. After an 11-day relay, the flame will be handed over to Paris Games organizers in Athens on April 26th, with water polo Olympic silver medalist Ioannis Fontoulis as the final torchbearer. The Paris Olympics will be held from July 26th to August 11th. According to organizers, some 400,000 tickets for the Paris 2024 Olympics will go on sale at the end of the month. Some 30,000 of the tickets available on November 30th will be for athletic sessions, with another 24,000 for tennis. Tickets for the opening ceremony will cost 90 to 2,700 euros. The Venezuelan Football Federation on Wednesday condemned the treatment of its national team's player Nahuel Ferraresi by Peruvian police. The player informed local media that a baton-wielding Peruvian police officer hit him twice, injuring fingers of his left hand as he tried to approach Venezuelan fans in the stands after the match. On day 3 of the International Film Festival of India, there were numerous film screenings and events to celebrate the art of cinema. The day witnessed red carpet events, screenings of movies, including Elegies, Vad and Room 999. Masterclass and also conversation sessions were also conducted. Shama Mishra gets us more from Goa.
Several highly anticipated films were screened on the third day, including both national and international entries. These movies covered a wide range of genres, from drama to comedy to experimental cinema. The 54th edition of the International Film Festival of India is screening 25 feature films and 20 non-feature films in its flagship component of Indian Panorama. Vad, after garnering many accolades, was screened today in the Indian Panorama section.
I liked it so much, seeing it second time, and this is a very good platform. It's a very different platform than the release in towns, and I was very happy to see so many people come for this film.
अच्छा, बढ़िया, बेहतरीन, good, and ये festival में आना हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ी बात है. It's honor.
CBC exhibition is another attraction at the 54th IFFI in Goa. This year's CBC exhibition captures the essence of projecting Indian films and their contributions using cutting-edge technology and futuristic trends. Various technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, digital puzzle, immersive room and digital flip book have been used to enhance the experience of visitors.
Aim of this exhibition is to engage the people of Goa, Panji and all those who are visiting Goa from outside to attend the film festival, and also the school children, college children, and to show them the various facets of Indian cinema.
The cast and crew of suspense thriller Kadak Singh, including Aniruddha Roy Chaudhary, Pankaj Tripathi, Parvati Thiruvotu, Jaya Ehsan, Paresh Pahuja and Sanjana Sanghi, walked the red carpet for the screening of their film. Day 3 of the International Film Festival of India was an exciting and enriching experience for both film enthusiasts and industry professionals. Shama Mishra reporting for DD India.
The 525th birth anniversary of Mirabai is being celebrated in the holy land of Braj. The Braj Raj Mahotsav is organized from 14 to 25th November. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is participating in the Braj Raj Mahotsav today. Let's take a look.
Somewhere there is Bhim Jogi dance, somewhere the beat of the drum, and somewhere the Rai dance of Bundelkhand. These enchanting sights are part of the Braj Raj Mahotsav organized in Mathura city in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. This year, the event is even more special because it also marks the 525th birth anniversary of the saint Meera of Braj. The Braj Mahotsav, dedicated to the great Saint Meerabai, is being held from 23rd to 25th November. And in line with this, Indian Prime Minister Modi is participating in the Braj Raj Mahotsav today. After visiting the birthplace of Lord Shri Krishna, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also participate in this festival held at the Mathura railway ground.
This year, Meerabai's 525th birth anniversary is also being celebrated for 3 days, where the Honorable Prime Minister will inaugurate it. And the upcoming Ekadashi of Dev Uthani in the month of Kartik is also very important and a good opportunity.
In the Braj Raj Mahotsav, which is being organized from November 14th, one can see glimpses of the state and country's culture along with the culture of Braj. On November 23rd, actor and Member of Parliament from Mathura, Hema Malini, will organize the performance of Meerabai dance drama, while on November 24th, Sumitra Guha, and on November 25th, Kavita Krishnamurti, along with many national-level artists, will present their performances. This unique cultural event of Braj is not only enriched by national-level artists, but it is also a unique platform for the demonstration of folk art and culture.
This is our traditional music instrument. It is our centuries-old tradition, and it is our endeavor to keep this art alive.
Bundelkhand has a traditional dance that has been around since the time of the kings and also during the time of Lord Krishna. This tradition dates back to when the kings would return after winning battles, and this dance would be performed in their courts as a celebration of their victory.
There is tremendous excitement among the general public regarding the Braj Raj Mahotsav, and people consider this event as an initiative to preserve their culture.
It is a very good event that is aimed at promoting our culture. We all come together to take this culture forward and hope to continue doing so.
Mathura city is heritage of our culture. It is Krishna's city. His birth happened here, and our culture is our religion, and we must preserve it.
The Braj Raj Mahotsav is a fusion of tradition and modernity. The cultural event showcases the cultural heritage and at the same time reflects the glimpse of self-reliant India in the gallery of handicraft stalls and one district, one product.
All right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.